A significant U.S. supplier of diesel fuel warned of an oil shortage on the East Coast just a few days before the midterm elections, saying it would cause the price of some consumer items to rise in the near future. Due to multi-year low stockpiles and supply bottlenecks, the United States is experiencing a diesel shortage, particularly on the East Coast. According to sources, the nation's fuel bank has only 25 days' worth of fuel left. Let's watch this video to learn more about this problem. Inflation will continue to be high for a while due to low stockpiles of heating oil and diesel fuel. Given that diesel is the primary fuel used by the trucks, trains, and ships that carry the majority of consumer products, it appears that the prices of these carried commodities will also rise. What's going on with diesel at the moment? According to Bloomberg, the U.S. fuel issue is already present and will soon expand to the East Coast, where there are already delays in transit. As winter approaches, diesel stockpiles are at their lowest seasonal level ever. According to the Energy Information Administration, the amount of distillate fuel in the United States, including diesel fuel and heating oil, was 106.2 million barrels in October. This figure is 20% less than the 5-year average and represents a 25-day supply. What stocks are influenced by a scarcity of diesel fuel? Since the fuel is required to carry goods around the nation, a scarcity of diesel gas influences a lot of businesses. A diesel gas shortage will hardest hit the following sectors: transportation and trucking. Since diesel fuel is used to transport most of our goods, any business in this sector must consider the possibility of limited diesel supplies, which could result in higher pricing. Construction. When many individuals already have to contend with skyrocketing loan rates, the increasing cost of transporting raw materials used by many power trucks and excavators will cause home construction prices to grow even further. Given that consumers would be less likely to borrow money, everything would become more expensive, which would also affect the mortgage business. Fresh food. As it becomes more expensive to move the commodities quickly, the cost of fresh produce will keep rising. Additional consumer items. Given that all of our goods are shipped via truck or freight, it might be difficult to get goods into stores in time for the holiday season as we approach dangerously low fuel levels. It's reasonable to suggest that the diesel gas shortage could affect stocks in any of these businesses if they can't deliver the products on time or if they have to boost prices. Price increases would simply undermine consumer confidence at a time when a recession is very likely. Suncor Energy. Suncor uses a different process than traditional oil production to create synthetic crude from oil sands. With the stock up roughly 40% for 2022, Suncor will profit from rising diesel fuel prices. Since Suncor recently increased its dividend, this company is more appealing to investors. What effects might a lack of diesel fuel have? While the European energy crisis and the development potential of electric vehicles have received much attention, diesel remains the primary fuel used to power trucks, trains, and vessels that move consumer products. The cost of transporting items will rise in line with soaring diesel costs. This would indicate that we might be able to anticipate further price rises as the holiday season approaches. Experts are also concerned that rising diesel costs may push the country into a recession. Transportation costs would increase due to rising diesel prices as the Fed continues to fight inflation by hiking interest rates. This would imply that despite the ruthless rate hikes, prices would continue to rise and drive inflation through the roof. Simple supply and demand concerns are to blame for the current increase in diesel prices. The crisis between Russia and Ukraine and the ongoing lockdowns in China are other factors causing disruptions to the international markets. What will happen to diesel prices next? As the availability of diesel fuel declines and demand rises, immediate action is required. The Biden administration has proposed banning petroleum export to aid with supplies and pricing. President Biden recently said that 15 million barrels of oil would be released from the strategic reserve in December to enhance supply. We have a scarcity of diesel fuel, but there is no clear evidence that this would end the problem or significantly help. It's vital to remember that this fuel is utilized for heating and trucking, both of which are essential for maintaining the economy, particularly during the winter. Due to the requirement for diesel as an energy source for trucks, excavators, ships, and freight trains, trade and freight are kept moving. As the Fed continues its aggressive rate hike campaign, a lack of diesel would result in higher expenses across the board for the economy, from construction to transportation. The bottom line: if the refineries don't expand their capacity, or if we don't discover means to refill supplies, the diesel gas scarcity could present numerous difficulties. Consumers will be impacted if diesel fuel costs rise more, since everything would cost more money. As the issue with diesel gas is currently urgent, we'll continue to keep an eye on it. That concludes today's video. Thanks for joining us till the end, and we'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.